You're listening to Barbell Logic,
the podcast where we talk about what it means to experience strength
and how you can use simple, hard, and effective strategies in training and nutrition to improve your life.
It starts with meeting you where you are right now and finding lasting solutions.
Welcome to the show.
All right, welcome everybody to the Barbell Logic podcast. I'm Niki Sims, joined with the Niki Burman.
Niki Burman. Hi.
We had Niki Burman on not too long ago to help us, or to help, I say us because it includes me, talk about how to not miss workouts and how that can be really powerful for maintaining consistency in your training and working towards your goals. And we're here to talk about something somewhat similar, but it's about being consistent with eating well. And what we're going to really speak to specifically is what to do when you get into a bit of a cooking rut. And I think we've all been there where we're just like, oh man, I just can't eat broccoli and ground meat one more day. Please help me. And so what'll happen is we'll start eating, stuff that's easy or stuff that's processed, and that can be kind of a bad gateway. So how did this topic arise for you, Niki?
I do nutrition coaching, and I noticed a lot of my clients were saying that I just don't feel like cooking. I don't know what to cook anymore. I'm in a rut. They're just getting bored.
Yeah.
Bored with food in general.
Yeah.
So I started seeing this theme lately, and I'm like, you know what? I want to write an article on this and do a podcast on it.
Awesome. And you are really, I've noticed you're really creative in the kitchen. You're always posting really tasty things that you come up with, and you're using like your air fryer and you're baking vegetables and doing something. You have to feed 2 small children, which are arguably probably the pickiest eaters.
Actually, they're not.
Oh, really? Oh, good.
My husband is. He's pickier.
What's on his will not eat list?
Green beans, peas, tomatoes, that kind of stuff.
Man, healthy things. Okay.
But the kiddos eat everything.
That's awesome. And it seems like they eat a lot.
It's because of how I started them. Like, my goal in life is to not have picky eaters.
That's good. Yeah.
And that starts in the kitchen. When I grew up, so this kind of has a backstory. When I grew up, I didn't ever get taught how to cook.
Yeah.
My mom was always kind of like, all right, everyone out of the kitchen. I'm going to make dinner. So I never got to see what cooking looked like. Not that we were the healthiest family ever, so I don't know what all I would have learned. But, I just didn't know how to cook until I moved away and got into fitness. I was kind of more so forced to figure out how all this works, right?
Yeah.
So my goal is to have my kids grow up with that, know how to do it, see how living a healthy lifestyle is fun, have them learn along the way, but just involve them. Involving the family is huge.
And it's something that you do 3-4 times a day. So I could see how it would be an opportunity to get sick and tired of it because you're just in the kitchen again. But then it's also just a great opportunity to be together and be creative.
Yeah. I hear and I agree with this. Cooking and meal prepping can take time, depending on what you're making. And I think the problem is, since our time is so limited these days, it pulls you away from family time. But if you involve the whole family, that's a win-win. You have family time, but everyone's working together towards this healthy lifestyle.
Yeah. And have you noticed, I'm curious if getting to cooking ruts happens in changes of the season, where it's we've gotten used to the routine, we've gotten used to the hours of daylight, from, winter, and now it's starting to transition to summer where it's brighter out and our schedule is kind of changing. So all of a sudden, what we got into the habit of doing for the previous 4 months is that's not working for me anymore.
Yeah, possibly.
Yeah. So what kind of go ahead.
It's finding something new to make. I get asked a lot, I've been making the same thing. What can I make? What's some new stuff I can? So I send my clients every week a new recipe, and that kind of keeps me on my game too, because not only am I trying to find new things for my kids to keep trying to keep exposing them, but I'm also trying to send my clients a new thing every week too.
Wow.
But I'll be honest, I'm a fake it till you make it kind of cook. I really don't know what I'm doing because I was never taught, right? I'm still learning.
Yeah. I am definitely a print out a recipe from the internet and do it kind of person.
And the more you do that, though, the more you do learn along the way. And, you start to enjoy it just because you are learning tricks along the way. Like, you start to kind of be able to make small tweaks. If it's like you're trying to do lower fat, for example, like knowing how to like tweak it a little bit, like you start to kind of learn tricks along the way. But yeah, starting easy. It doesn't have to be this complicated recipe.
Yeah. Do people, let's see, I wonder what you see first. Maybe is there maybe a dip in their nutrition plan compliance before they tell you that they're bored, or does it maybe happen? Do they reach out to you about that first?
Probably a mix.
Yeah.
Yeah. And just, yeah, in their check-ins, you can kind of tell when they're kind of, either maybe it's like not as long of a response. They're just kind of, you can just tell when someone's kind of bored with nutrition.
Yeah.
And pictures too, right? We do pictures to our clients. So I can tell when someone's like having fun and making fun things in the kitchen. Cause I want to see lots of color.
Exactly.
I mean, just a colorful plate.
Yep.
And so, when it comes to like cooking, find a casserole that has veggies, protein, everything mixed in one. If you're trying to build momentum here, because then you're not trying to cook more than one thing at once. That takes care of everything. And they taste good.
Yeah. And I find the same thing about Instant Pot recipes is that's something that you can just throw a bunch of meat and vegetables in, and then it's all ready. It lasts for days, so you can have leftovers, and it's like super, you don't have to make it really complicated. I think that's something that people can be a bit of a trap, is they'll pick a recipe that has like all these steps and all these new spices they have to go buy. Yep. And it's not something that they're ever going to repeat. So it's just like, well, I did that once and never going to do that again because it took you, 2.5 hours.
Yep. Easy is the way to go. That's all that I do. Only easy.
Nice.
Has to be quick.
How do you tell, like, if you're recipe searching or coming up with something in your head, like what keeps it easy?
Less steps. Maybe the ingredient list isn't too long. So there's an app that I use called Family Wall, and you can store your favorite recipes on it. And then there's a thing you can click, add to your grocery list. So it automatically just adds it to your list. And it's this app that we use here as a family. So Jarrett has access to it to like build the grocery list. Because I found in the past that planning for the grocery store can be stressful when you're trying to find something to make and then you're trying to manually add things to a list and you're checking what you have in stock, and it's just takes way too much time.
That's a really good point.
So if you start to build your favorite recipes and just simply click add to your list, and then you can go through and uncheck what you need, things that you already have, but it saves a lot of time.
Man, that's a really good call.
It's a pretty neat app.
That kind of sets you up for success to
exactly
get what you need at the grocery store without it being like an overwhelming experience.
Yep. And schedule when you're going to go to the store. If you don't build that habit first, you're not going to build a habit of cooking consistently. Go in with a list and schedule when you're going to go to the store. That's really important.
Or else the DoorDash app looks pretty appealing.
Yep. It's convenient.
Yeah. How many times a week do you guys go to the grocery store?
Usually twice a week.
Yeah, about the same.
Mainly to keep produce fresh.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And yeah, we have to cook for a lot of people. So when I think that I made a lot, like it doesn't last as long as I think. So usually twice a week is what we need.
That seems to be about what I hear from most people, unless they go to Costco. But if you're eating fresh food, if you're trying to get a lot of color, twice a week, I think is a great frequency, which, one of them might be on the weekend. Then you might have to maybe that'll be your big one. And then maybe like a smaller refill during the week. And I think it's like exactly what you just said, like just know you're going to have to do it. If it's a surprise every time, then it's going to be a much lower compliance, I think.
Yep, I agree.
Just accept the truth of having to go to the grocery store.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep.
Is there a certain meal that people tend to get a little bored of more frequently than others? Like,
I mean, if someone's doing
dinner.
plain chicken and rice,
yeah,
like I cannot, never again. Like I've totally burnt myself out on grilled chicken. Like I can't. I literally cannot eat grilled chicken. It has to taste good.
Yes.
And just because it tastes good doesn't mean it's this like big, extravagant recipe. You know, it doesn't have to take that long, but it has to taste good.
Yeah.
And you should look forward to eating it.
Ooh, that's a really good point. Mm-hmm.
If you're dreading eating the meal that you prepped, there's no point in that.
Yeah. Yeah. And if you're like microwaving broccoli all the time, your house is going to smell bad.
Yep. No, thank you.
I think I hear a lot from clients that they get in breakfast ruts.
Oh, yeah.
That's a tough one because it's like eggs are, I mean, if you like eggs, awesome, because that is such a great meal and you can do like a bunch of different things with it. But I know there are people who get bored of eggs. What do you recommend for that?
Yeah, that's a hard one because I love eggs too, but every now and then I do go through ruts where I have to take a break or I have to make the eggs a different way.
Yeah.
But you have options there too. But if someone does not like eggs at all, that's hard.
That is tough.
Overnight oats is a popular one. Greek yogurt with berries. You can throw some bran buds on top for more fiber, which gives you a nice crunch.
Yum.
Cottage cheese and fruit. But yeah, the egg rut, not fun.
Yeah. And I've noticed, or I think something people could try with that is if they have a breakfast or lunch, a dinner or lunch that they like, eat that again for breakfast, but maybe cook an egg, like fry it, cook it over medium and put it on top of whatever that is. And then you're sneaking in some more protein and then you're making it feel like a different meal than eating your dinner for breakfast. Breakfast for dinner is always way more fun.
Way more fun. That's a good idea.
Have you made the egg bakes?
I have.
How do you make those well? I've run into those sticking to the pan or like reheating them. They turn into hockey pucks. Like, do you have any secrets to success there?
Well, sticking to the pan, they have these little silicone cupcake holders that you can put in the pan. So we did that for, probably, 5 or 6 months straight every morning for our toddler because he loved it.
Oh, nice.
We got tired of making it. Like he was still eating it, but like I'm like, I don't want to risk him getting tired of eggs. So we changed it up. Now he's doing overnight oats. But yeah, those egg bakes are a huge hit, or like a big frittata.
Oh, yeah.
Because then you have enough for like all week. It lasts all week. But you can change up what you put in it, different types of meat, different types of veggies. The egg muffins are easy too to mix up. Put some veggies at the bottom. You can mix in egg whites if you want. Yeah, I mean, as far as reheating it goes, yeah, they're better fresh.
Yeah.
I mean, everything's better fresh, but it works.
What happens when you get burnt out from trying to find new recipes? Does that ever happen?
Yeah, it happens, but I think I just fight through it, knowing that A, my clients are kind of relying on me, and B, my whole family is relying on me. And I'm like so determined to keep my kids liking so much different things that I'm just like never not going to do it. I just know that I have to.
Yourself.
Just know that I have to.
Yeah.
But we keep it fun though.
Yeah.
Like I really haven't had that happen since having kids, to be honest.
Oh,
like
that's cool.
I think I got into more ruts before when I was just by myself. But with the kids, like the way we involve them in the grocery store and the toddler tower, and Gavin's up there helping me prep broccoli and he's taking bites out of it because he loves
cute.
raw veggies. Like it's just so much fun. And he's laughing and
Yeah,
and seeing them, it's really satisfying to me when I find a recipe and the whole family loves it.
yeah.
I never really had that before. So it's like, it's just something like you need to find your why.
There it is. Mhm.
Why is this important to you? Keep your emotions involved. And I think my why has kind of shifted to just seeing my family happy and healthy and enjoying it. Like that's super satisfying to me.
I love that. It's what I was hearing is there is a bigger purpose than is this tasty right now? Like you're encouraging creativity, you're encouraging health, you're setting an example, and you're feeding your family in this diverse, nutrient-dense way. And that's such a greater purpose. And you're showing up for your clients too. You're accountable to them as well. So it's bigger than just a meal.
Yep.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. That is really important to think about when you're just like, oh, I don't want to eat these eggs again. But, why were you eating eggs in the first place? You know,
Right.
what's your purpose there? Like, why are you, deciding to make kale all the time? Like, there was a reason.
Yep.
Is it okay for you to keep doing that? Can you try some new spices? Like, kind of getting past that. But
Yep.
I like what you said about keeping your emotion in check. Why is that important? Or keeping it involved. Why is that important?
It's everyone's why. Like the emotions is what keeps you going. If I have a client who's starting to struggle, I'm going to pull those emotions back in, remind them why they're doing this. Ruts happen on the training side, ruts happen on the cooking side, but they go hand in hand. Like you've got to have both. It's funny because probably before I probably put training first before nutrition. And while training is still super important to me, I find now that I'm more likely to move my workout around to have time to cook.
Oh, cool.
That's kind of become my like baseline. If I don't have food cooked, you feel so uneasy. There's something motivating about having food prepped. And when you get used to that, you feel so much more stressed trying to figure out what you're going to eat. You're scrambling around or you're picking things up and you don't feel as good. When your body gets used to feeling a certain way from eating consistently, like home cooked meals, you go on a trip, right? It's fun, but you come back and you like literally crave veggies.
Totally. Like I'll often go from the airport right to the grocery store just to get all the veggies.
It's amazing what our bodies get used to. Yeah. So I absolutely hate the feeling of not having food made.
It's awful, especially if it's 4:00 and you have to go to the grocery store.
Yeah. I don't really know how moms do it. Like, I don't think I could not meal prep. Like to have food ready for like the nanny to heat up, like to make it easy on them. Like I've got to meal prep. And biggest tip is to always, when you can, always double or triple the recipe and freeze extras.
Love it.
It is so, so important to have that backup plan because life is going to happen.
Yeah.
And there's going to be weeks where you just don't have time to meal prep.
Totally.
Fall back on those frozen meals.
Yep.
There's this Mexican bison bake that I will literally make a huge batch of just to freeze because it is so good reheated.
Oh my gosh, that sounds really yummy.
So our deep freezer is stocked up with that yummy backup meal. Like I look forward to eating it.
There you go. Like you said, you can't just be some gross thing that you reheat. You want to be excited about it.
Yes.
Yeah, that's super important.
So good.
I will sometimes order a whole pizza and I'll eat my 2 slices and then I'll freeze the pizza. I have leftover pizzas. So it's not like I'm just kind of joking about food prep, but like it's nice. And I have it next to like my ground meat and veggies kind of thing. But it's just always reassuring to have like options in the freezer.
Yep. It is.
Use your freezer, folks.
Yeah. If you have the space, the deep freezer is amazing to have.
Clutch. Yeah.
But not everyone has space for that. But yeah, it's amazing.
Are there things that you keep kind of in a constant state of prep, like chopped up certain vegetables or fruits or meats that are just kind of always ready to use?
I mean, we have meat in the freezer for sure. But it's funny, like I used to prep, like chop up veggies more ahead of time. But now that my toddler is so involved in that step,
awesome.
I don't do it ahead of time as much because he just wants to do it with me. There's these kid-friendly knives from the moms out there. And they're so much fun. And like the kids are learning how to like cut and they're involved in the process. They can do the sprinkling of the seasonings. That's his favorite stuff.
So good. That's such a good idea.
Yeah, it's fun.
My brother and his wife, they have 4 kids and they are always in the kitchen doing something. And now it's like they ask to make dinner. They'll make an entire dinner, just like they all have their jobs. They're comfortable in there. They're free to experiment with how things are going to taste.
Yep.
And I think that's a great kind of philosophy to keep in mind when you're grown up too, is just like, you know what, try something, get in there. And just like, if you know, there are things that you love, if you love red peppers and if you love ground beef or whatever, and, pick something new and see what happens, like experiment with the flavors, like don't worry about it. If it's terrible, then you never have to make it again.
Yeah. I mean, trust me, not everything I make tastes good. It happens all the time. Happens to all of us. Don't let it discourage you. I hear that from my clients too. Like, man, I'm just not good at this. Like, I can't figure out how to cook chicken good. Like, I'm just giving up. Like, don't give up. Keep trying, because you're gonna learn. Not everything I make tastes good.
Yeah, and that's all right.
And maybe even try a new cooking method. Like, maybe there's something you like, but maybe you want to cook a veggie a different way. You can air fry it. You can roast it in the oven. You can grill it. Like, there's so many options you have to change it up in that way too. Not just new foods, but new ways of cooking the food.
Totally. Even the size that you cut foods can make a huge difference. Like,
oh yeah,
have a salad. I am just obsessed with salads right now. I have a huge serving size bowl of salad every night. That's my dinner. And I'll get to play around with like how I chop up the leaves and what size I put the cucumbers and what nuts I use. And it's like such an adventure every time, just because of like the different sizes that I make things.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff you can do.
And for the people that are cooking by themselves, or like, well, I don't have a family to involve, like, I don't know, turn the music up, like, have fun, like, dance around the kitchen, right? Like, what do you do, Nikki? Like, turn up the music.
I will listen to a podcast or I'll listen to music, and I totally enjoy my time in the kitchen, because I feel like the whole day I am available, and then something happens like at like 6 p.m. It's like, I'm not available anymore. This is my time to just jam out and be in the kitchen and then eat outside. And it is such a lovely routine. And it's surrounded around food, which I know when people are trying to make nutritional changes, it's like, it can be challenging because our food is such a social environment. And sometimes all we do is like meet up with our friends and it's about food. And especially if you're trying to make some changes, you're always the person like eating lower calorie food. But this is still food centric while being an activity that you can enjoy yourself during without, being on your phone. It's just another great time to not be in front of a screen.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love baking a lot. And that's another good time to just do something physical that produces something that you get to benefit from.
It's this satisfying feeling of making something really yummy. Like, yes. I made this.
Yeah. What are some of your favorite recipes?
I mentioned the Mexican bison bake.
Yeah, you're going to have to share that on your Instagram.
Yeah, I will. That's a huge one. And all my clients that have made it have been like, this is amazing. We have another Greek casserole too that's pretty popular. What have we made recently? We made these oven-baked tacos in the oven.
Oh, yeah.
Kind of like those when I was a kid, those smaller frozen tacos.
Yeah.
But these are fuller and more meat, and it's just...
I saw there was just piles of meat pouring out of the tacos. Like, that's the way that tacos should be.
They're crispy. They're really good.
Oh, that's an important thing to keep in mind, is like the variety of textures in your dishes.
Yeah.
If you're always eating mush, like, that's a huge bummer.
Yeah. Another fun thing you can do is go take a cooking class. That's a fun date night as well. Mm-hmm. Learn a new skill. That might also spark some new interest and excitement there.
Yes. And get a good knife. Like, yes. When you start using a good knife, you're just like, holy moly, this is what it can be like in the kitchen. And you just like want to chop things.
Yeah, that's fun.
Yeah, having like, maybe it can sometimes be making sure your kitchen is a nice place for you to be in. Are your counters cluttered? Do you have stuff that you don't need in there? Is it dirty? Like, do you need just to get like a deep clean in? Do you need a new nonstick
I won't
pan?
Cook in a dirty kitchen. No.
Yeah.
If there's dishes, all that has to be clean first before I cook.
Absolutely. Yeah. And like, let that be part of your routine, because you're trying to create a space where you can move comfortably, where you want to be, and where you can trust that the food that you're making is not dirty.
Yep. You could also watch a YouTube video. There's so many out there these days, like learning how to cook a new type of food or a new cooking method. There's videos. I mean, go get a new kitchen appliance if you can, if it's feasible. Like, that could be exciting too.
The Instant Pot is the best thing in the world.
And air fryer.
Yeah.
Huge
fan. Air fryer.
We made these quesadillas recently in the air fryer. Like, so leftover meat sometimes can, like, you might get bored of it. You can do an air fryer quesadilla with like any kind of leftover meat.
Oh my God,
and it
yum.
is so good. It's crispy. We're so excited we found this new thing. Like, I think
Yeah.
people have been doing this for a long time. We're kind of late on finding this, but
Yeah, I
I'm
think
so
that
glad
was
I
the
found
gift
it.
of 2019.
Yes, I think so. But we're just now discovering this amazing quesadilla air fryer.
Then you can make all these things crispy without frying them.
So good.
Amazing. Another cool thing you made me think of is you can like, when you said something about cooking shows, is you can pick like one type of food and like just get really good at that type of food. So like, you know, see how many different ways you can make salmon, or see how many different ways you can make eggs, see how many different ways you can, you know, make tacos. And I think having that little bit of constraint might just help you kind of focus in and be like a little more able to let yourself explore in kind of a smaller world. And then if you don't stick with it forever, it's whatever, it's fine. It's your life. You get to do whatever you want to do. But that might be like a fun gateway to explore.
Yeah, that's fun. Recently, I gave a client a goal of every couple weeks, her goal is to try either a new veggie or a new way of cooking a veggie, because veggies are not her thing. And hey, what's the worst case? You just don't like it, right? But trying new things, you never know if you're going to like it.
Yeah.
And that might right there open the door to new possibilities if you find one that you actually really like.
Yeah.
And, you know, I really think it comes down to your mindset. If you go into that new food you're trying already telling yourself that you're not going to like it, this is for my picky eaters out there, like, you're probably not going to like it. But go in open-minded. You never know. And then, you know, I really think you can train your taste buds.
Oh, cool.
Kind of like how someone will go from like a sugary coffee drink and slowly work their way to like black coffee, if that's what they're needing to do for their nutrition goals. You see people do that. You could do the same thing with veggies as well. Like maybe you start with adding a ton of cheese on top and just slowly back that off until you're training your taste buds to the point where you can just have the veggie.
Yeah. Yeah. But I like the idea of starting by burying them in cheese first.
Make it taste super, super yummy and then just slowly back away. And then, hey, it's a win. You're getting a veggie in.
Yeah. I found that going out to eat at like good restaurants and watching cooking shows and documentaries is like inspiring, because these people, these amazing chefs, are so passionate about how to experience food. They like know how to bring out the best in ingredients, and seeing that that's possible is so fun. And it makes me want to be like, oh man, how can I make that avocado taste even better?
Yeah.
And it becomes like almost, I think it's even more fun to go out to eat because it lets you want to try it at home, or, you know, sometimes it's a challenge. Like, I know I could cook this better. And then it sometimes gets hard to go out because I'm just like, well, I could make this at home and it won't cost $40 a person.
Yep.
Which is
how many times have you gone out to eat and it was kind of like your, you know, maybe it's like a planned high day, right? So you're going in knowing that I have room for extra calories. I'm going to have something different and fun. And that just wasn't as good as you thought it was going to be. It's so disappointing. I'm like, man, I could have made this at home better.
Yep. That's awesome. That speaks to your power in the kitchen. That's great. What else do your clients bring up with you when they're in the rut?
I really think the main thing is just finding something to make.
Yeah.
Just being open to trying new things.
Yeah.
And, you know, so I find nutrition is the easiest, well, I think it's easier to derail your nutrition. Like one small little hiccup, like as you hear from clients, like one meal goes out the window and then it kind of leads to the rest of the day,
Totally.
leads to probably the rest of the week. So getting back on the track as quickly as you can when life happens, which is where those frozen backup meals can really help.
That's a really good point.
Not giving up, like not just throwing in the towel by getting derailed just by a little bit. Nutrition consistency is way harder to maintain than training consistency for most people.
It happens so frequently, sometimes very tied to emotions. And it can have an instant, or you can respond to it very quickly with if you're bloated or if you're still hungry or if it tastes bad. Like, it's such a instant feedback loop that's very different than training.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I like everything you said about a positive and explorative mindset.
Yep.
Yeah.
Wanting to find ways to make it fun, whatever that fits in your lifestyle. Find ways to involve the family. Find ways to just make the kitchen fun and enjoyable to be in.
And outside now, it's like grilling time, smoking meats. Exciting. We built this DIY pizza oven in my backyard for like $60 with just like red patio bricks and concrete pavers. And it's amazing because we can build a fire on like the ground level, and then there's like a pizza tray level. And so we'll make pizza, put whatever toppings we want on it. And it takes a little while to cook because it's a $50 pizza oven. It's not like the really nice ones. But then we have a fire and a pizza going, and it is such a fun experience to sit out there and have a glass of wine. And then we've made this gorgeous pizza that then we get to eat. And it's like this wonderful 1.5 hour long pizza saga.
That sounds amazing.
Yeah, it was great. And it was so easy. Like, literally was less than $60 to make this pizza oven.
Nice.
I highly recommend it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's something I've not ventured in yet, but that sounds fun.
The best.
Adding it to the list.
Yep. We'll have to post that link too. Well, what are you cooking tonight for dinner?
Oh, what do we have planned? I think we're probably going to just make a quesadilla that I mentioned. We have some leftover meat, and then we're heading back to the store tomorrow.
Yep.
So I'll make a new list tomorrow. It starts all over again.
Yep. I'm at my grocery store day as well. Kind of when I was making breakfast this morning, I was like, man, we are out of everything. Time to make the midweek run.
Yep.
So I think it's going to be a tuna salad night.
That sounds yummy.
Yeah, it is.
Yep. We'll make the list. It'll carry us through probably till Monday or Tuesday, and then we'll head back to the store again. So.
And it seems like your kiddos have fun at the store too.
Oh yeah, so much fun. We're to the point now where the 9-month-old wants to sit where brother sits in the cart. So now he's in the back of the cart. So we have a cart just for the kids and a cart just for the food. So we're walking around with 2 carts, but it keeps them happy.
Yeah, you are good at making all of these things fun and engaging.
Yeah, it's really important to me because I wish I had that more growing up, you know?
Yeah.
Like, I wish I was taught how to cook. I wasn't, but I want them to know how to do it for sure.
Totally. Yeah. Good message to moms. I have so many great memories of being in the kitchen with my mom. It's like stuff that you'll remember forever because you start being connected with how, an apple pie smelled, and that's going to kind of throw you back. And you're like, oh, my mom always made the best XYZ. Yep. That's good. Awesome. Yeah. Anything else?
I think that hit everything I wanted to say.
Yeah, made me even more excited to eat late again today, which is kind of just a state of being for me to be excited to eat. I love it. Well, I hope you guys got a gem. If you're in a little nutrition rut, try something. Pick a certain food, pick a recipe online, pick a new way to cook it, pick a new appliance. Like, don't worry about picking the right thing. Pick something and then learn from there and see how it goes. But remember why you're trying to eat the way you are. What's the bigger purpose? There are lots of ways you can stay engaged and keep it kind of a purposeful time in the kitchen and, have some fun with it. Don't take it too seriously.
Yep. All that sounds spot on.
Thank you for, as always, educating me, helping all of us out. Nikki, thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. Thank you, everybody, for listening. If you like the show or you have an opinion about it, go ahead and give us a rating on whatever platform you're listening to. And we would appreciate to hear from you. So thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.